Speaking about the economy of Great Britain, it should be mentioned that, as in many other countries, the economy of Britain is based mostly on private enterprises. Different services and manufacturing are well developed, while the agriculture does not take the leading place here. Great Britain is one of the world's leading industrialized nations. It has achieved this position despite the lack of most raw materials needed for industry. It must also import 40% of its food supplies. During the 1970s and 80s, nearly 3.5 million manufacturing jobs were lost, but in the 1990s, over 3.5 million jobs were created in service-related industries. By the early 21st century, banking, insurance, business services, and other service industries accounted for almost 3/4 of the gross domestic product and employed 80% of the workforce. This trend was also reflected in a shift in Great Britain's economic base, which has benefited the southeast, southwest, and Midlands regions of the country, while the north of England and Northern Ireland have been hard hit by the changing economy. The main industrial and commercial areas are the great conurbations, where about 1/3 of the country's population lives. The administrative and financial center and the most important port is Greater London, which also has various manufacturing industries. London is Europe's foremost financial city. Great Britain has abundant supplies of coal, oil, and natural gas. Production of oil from offshore wells in the North Sea began in 1975, and the country is self-sufficient in petroleum. Other mineral resources include iron ore, tin, limestone, salt, china clay, oil shale, gypsum, and lead. The country's chief exports are manufactured goods, fuels, chemicals, food and beverages, and tobacco. The chief imports are manufactured goods, machinery, fuels, and foodstuffs. Since the early 1970s, Great Britain's trade focus has shifted from the United States to the European Union, which now accounts for over 50% of its trade. The United States, Germany, France, and the Netherlands are the main trading partners, and the Commonwealth countries are also important. To keep the country's economy at a high level, the government controls inflation, public spending, and loans. Markets and businesses are not left behind. Privatization is also taking place. Almost all big business is now privatized.
Stories of the world. Britain is among the countries that have managed to remain successful in the international market in addition to having enjoyed a substantial share of the total global exports. So, today we are going to talk about UK economy. Past of UK economy. In the 18th century, the UK was the first country to industrialize, and during the 19th century it had a dominant role in the global economy, accounting for 9.1% of the world's GDP in 1870. From the late 19th century, the Second Industrial Revolution was also taking place rapidly in the United States and the German Empire. This presented an increasing economic challenge for the UK. The costs of fighting World War I and World War II further weakened the UK's relative position. the end of the Second World War, the United Kingdom enjoyed a long period without a major recession and a rapid growth and prosperity in the 1950s and 1960s, with unemployment staying low and not exceeding 3.5% until the early 1970s. According to the OECD, the annual rate of growth, percentage change, between 1960 and 1973 averaged 2.9%. The 1973 oil crisis and the 1973-74 stock market crash, the British economy fell into the 1973-75 recession. In 1976, the UK was forced to request a loan of £2.3 billion from the International Monetary Fund, and for a while the British economy improved, with growth of 4.3% in early 1979. Britain's economy slid into another global recession in late 1990, and this caused economy in the world measured by nominal gross domestic product, GDP, with $2.65 trillion and ninth largest in the world measured by purchasing power parity, PPP, with $2.79 trillion, comprising 4% of world GDP. In 2016, the UK was the ninth largest exporter in the world and the sixth largest importer, and it had the second largest stocks of inward foreign direct investment and outward foreign direct investment. It is one of the most globalized economies, and is composed of the economies of England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Its nominal GDP per capita is $42,106 ranked 13th, and $42,041 in terms of PPP ranked 27th. Population below poverty line is 12%. GDP by sector. Agriculture, 0.6%. Construction, 6.4%. Production, 14.6%. Services, 78.4%. The service sector dominates the UK economy, contributing around 78% of GDP. The financial services industry.
The Kingdom is the sixth largest economy in the world by nominal GDP and the sixth largest by purchasing power parity. It is the third largest economy in Europe after Germany's and France's in nominal terms, and the second largest after Germany's in terms of purchasing power parity. The United Kingdom is the second largest financial economy in the world, second only to the United States, and is home to many of the world's largest banks and companies. London, the country's capital, is the largest financial center in the world, has the largest city GDP in Europe, and is home to over 100 of Europe's 500 largest corporations, with such corporations as HSBC and BP. The United Kingdom is also a member of the G7, G8, G20 major economies, the Commonwealth of Nations, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Great Britain is primarily an industrial and commercial nation. Major industries such as transportation, communications, steel, petroleum, coal, gas, and electricity had been nationalized by Labour governments. The country is a world leader. Agriculture. Agriculture in Great Britain is intensive and highly mechanized. Income from livestock and dairy products is about 3 times that from crops. Horticultural products are also important, especially in southern England. The most important crops were wheat, potatoes, barley, sugar, beets, and oats. A variety of fruits and vegetables is also grown. Livestock included about 11.8 million cattle, 44 million sheep, 7.6 million pigs, and 133 million poultry. Forestry and fishing. Of the approximately 22 million hectares, about 5.4 million acres of woodlands in Great Britain, about 40% are in England, 49% in Scotland, and 11% in Wales. The most common trees are oak, beech, ash, and elm. Pine and birch predominate in Scotland. The deep-sea fishing industry has declined since the 1960s. It remains most important to the economy of Scotland and is a major source of employment in certain fishing ports. Marine fishes harvested include Atlantic mackerel, Atlantic herring, cod, haddock, European plaice, Atlantic salmon, whiting salmon, cockle, and Norway lobster.